The Communist Manifesto for Children is set in the Latin American countryside in the 1950s. 4 children, 3 bourgeois and 1 proletariat, steal, on a dare, Marx and Engels' manifesto from the home of a farm worker and decide to play and act out passages from the book. We have fun, we have games, and they lead to introspective journeys, betrayal, and an exorcism. This is a play for grown-ups about class, boredom, innocence lost, and the battle between the specter of communism and the spirit of capitalism.
You might not think of me as a theater and stage show review channel, but that's just because you haven't seen the very first video on this channel looking into the NYU so-called professor Rebecca Goyette. If you have seen it, you'll remember she's the one who did the weird bestiality shows and the Trump sex stage show. And is famous for telling police to beat attendees at a speech Gavin McInnes did in New York.
I'm a professor! You should kick their ass!
Anyway, I was looking up a Karl Marx quote, what Marx thought should be done with children, and I came across this billing in a Canadian magazine, Now Magazine, the Communist Manifesto for Children. Crocodilo Triste presents a peek at the work and development by Bruce Gibbons Fell, part of Buddy's Queer Pride. 4 kids in 1950s Latin America steal Marx and Engels' manifesto and act out passages from the book. Buddies in Bad Time Theatre creates vital Canadian theatre by developing and presenting voices that question sexual and cultural norms. Built on the political and social principles of queer liberation, Buddies supports artists and works that reflect and advance these values. And the playwright, Bruce Gibbons Fell, is a Chilean award-winning playwright and translator. His company, So Much Drama, developed his play, The Communist Manifesto for Children, at Buddies in Bad Times. He is currently director of new play development at Intradam, Santiago, Chile.
Hi, my name is Bruce Gibbons Fell. I am an artistic director at So Much Drama, and I wrote the Communist Manifesto for Children. I'm originally from Chile, South America. I've been living in Toronto for the past 7.5 years.
So we've got an award-winning playwright behind this. This is going to be something else, a real experience. So let's get into it. Luckily, So Much Drama has a Vimeo page where we can watch. We've got our chalk pentagram, good start.
The Communist Manifesto for Children.
What would the Communist Manifesto for Children be without actual children? Now, don't be mistaken and get the wrong impression that this is like a high school play. No, this is an award-winning, this is a play by an award-winning playwright, and it is absolutely for adults.
This is a play for grown-ups about class, boredom.
The languid and laconic Latin American countryside.
South American countryside. South is in cold winters and 3 months of summer.
The 1950s. A brother and a sister have grown tired of their holiday.
Siblings whose parents don't give them the time of day.
Georgie.
And Gracie.
We have gripping and compelling characters, some masterful performances. There's really no need for them to memorize their lines.
Every year, from December to March, their summer holidays take place at the farm, where their friend Clara lives all year round.
Clara has a South American name and can't speak English like us.
Can't speak English at all, really.
This is a fine example of what you get when you don't have capitalism controlling artistic expression, all for market appeal. This is communist art at its peak.
El Manifiesto Comunista, Karl Marx y Friedrich Engels.
Marx? I wonder if he's related to the Marx Brothers.
What a hilarious and contemporary joke, naturally delivered by a child who definitely knows who the Marx Brothers were. I feel like this crowd is acting more than the people on stage are.
Society can no longer live under
this bourgeoisie. In other words, its existence is no longer compatible with society. The fall of the bourgeoisie is inevitable.
Is that a good thing?
The fall of the bourgeoisie is not inevitable. Not if I can do anything about it.
These bourgeois people don't sound like they're gonna go to heaven, do they?
It's ironic that they're concerned about the bourgeoisie going to heaven, considering what the communist revolutionaries do to priests.
Yeah, how about if we don't play with stolen books that have specters in them inside? What if that old farmer finds out we took it? What if we get caught with a stolen book?
We won't. Name of the game. Markets and salaries.
We've made it impossible for the proletariat to win.
Name of the game. War of the classification.
Name of the game!
The proletariat versus the bourgeoisie.
This is truly deserving to be called fine art. Where can I throw my tax dollars at this? That was the Communist Manifesto for Children. I know you're all excited to buy tickets. Sadly, I don't think the show is continuing currently. It's hard to tell what went wrong with such a brilliant cast, excellent writing, a strong ethical message. I truly do hope we see more from So Much Drama and the Buddies in Bad Times Queer Pride group. Because when I think about representation, this is definitely what I envisage.
The Communist Manifesto for Children has received very positive feedback during our public presentations, and I will leave you finally with my favorite quote from an audience member, which was that the play was absolutely charming and disturbing.
And here's what the Communist Manifesto for Children looks like in China.
Whereas the opposition does not hurt back the branding reproach of communism against its more advanced parties, as well as against the reactionary adversaries.
Two things result from this fact. First, communism is already acknowledged by all European powers to be itself a power. Second, it is high time that communists should openly, in the face of the whole world, publish their views, their aims, their tendencies, and meet this nursery tale of the specter of communism with a manifesto of the party itself.
Society as a whole is more and more splitting up into two great hostile camps, into two great classes directly facing each other, bourgeoisie and proletariat. The weapons with which the bourgeoisie fought feudalism to the ground are now turned against the bourgeoisie itself. But not only has the bourgeoisie forged the weapons that bring death to itself, it has also called into existence the men who are to wield those weapons, the modern working class, the proletarians. All previous historical movements were movements of minorities or in the interest of minorities. The proletarian movement is the self-conscious, independent movement of the immense majority, in the interest of immense majority.
The development of modern industry, therefore, has brought under its feet the very foundation on which the bourgeoisie produces and appropriates products. What the bourgeoisie therefore produces, above all, are its own grave diggers, its fall and the victory of the proletariat are equally inevitable. The communists, therefore, are on the one hand
In place of the old bourgeois society, with its classes and class antagonisms, we shall have an association, in which the free development of each is the condition for the free development of all.
The distinguishing feature of communism is not the abolition of property generally, but the abolition of bourgeois property. In this sense, the theory of the communists may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property.
The communists disdain to conceal their views and aims. They openly declare that their aims can be attained only by the forceful overthrow of all existing social conditions.
The ruling classes tremble at the communistic revolution. The proletariats have nothing to lose but their chance. They have the world to win.
Working men of all countries,
Unite! Working men of all countries, unite! Working men of all countries, unite!
In Chile, where I come from, class is everything. This always inspires my work, and the piece will also show you an element that's very personal to me, that connects with this whole story as well: the presence of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants in Latin America, as I call them, WASP-tino. Like me, the British colonies that were a big part of capitalist accumulation in the 19th and 20th century, and they are represented through the family that owns them.